Okay, so round two. So yeah, so what's your name? Lakin?
Lakin.
Lakin. Hey, nice to
Yeah,
meet you. My name is
nice
Keith.
to meet you.
But yeah, so I was talking with Kim on Tuesday, and I explained to her what I would like to do with my social media strategy. And I'm not a big fan of, just using regular templates or me too, strategies. I like to kind of do things out of the box. And, one of the things I wanted to do is, try to have conversations with people as I express what I'm trying to do in healthcare, whether it's with the platform Blue Scrub Yellow Socks or Echo. And then I kind of just wanted to just have conversations to kind of, for me, it's more like a conversation, but also a brainstorming session at the same time, to where as you're creating, social media strategies and different content, you'd be like, okay, I can see the direction that he's trying to go in. And we can take 60-second sound bites. We can take different quotes or different gems from the conversation to where we can kind of, put it in a text next to a picture or an image on social media. So that's kind of where I wanted this kind of conversation to go. And again, it just, conversations, because, when I spoke with Kim, Tuesday, I was like, this is the direction that I want to go in. And I was like, I wish I was recording this conversation, because we were talking about, healthcare and how it impacts us, individually and also as a, community. So that's kind of why I wanted to suggest doing something today. So, and Kim, thank you for coordinating it. So,
You are most welcome.
so any questions for me?
So Keith, just to give you, I want to give Lakin an opportunity to introduce herself. So I brought
Mhm.
Lakin on board when you were talking about a social media strategist and such, and she was one of the first people I thought about because she loves social media. She's a people person, and people love her. And for whatever reason, like people are just very attracted to her. They like to know what she's doing, her stories, and she creates a following,
Mhm.
just on her own. She manages a couple of her own social media platforms, and she's gotten good traction. So, and then she also has a business sense. She'll tell you where her background. She's been in corporate for a number of years. She's with AT&T, and she's worked with a lot of the executives there. Her current role is the chief of staff, and so she also knows the thing. I think where she adds the most value is she has the people side, and she can connect with people virtually and through social platforms, but she also can bring in like the medical space that you talked about, like the professional side, and adding those graphics and creating a visual where it can connect
Mhm.
that visual picture that we're wanting to paint with the proper audience. So I thought she would just be a great fit. I'm glad you get to meet her today. So Lakin, do you mind sharing with Keith a little bit more about yourself and what you
Hi.
do?
Well, that was a nice intro. Thank you. Yeah, you summed it up really well. I've been at AT&T for 15 years. So I literally started when I was in college, and I've had a lot of different jobs within the company, but basically for the past 6 or 7 years, what I've been doing is like org communications, team operations, strategy, for the customer and things like that. So yeah, I do a lot of connecting people and communicating to people and making the organization look good, putting the story together in a way that it presents well
Mhm.
and things like that. So that's where I've supported executives and teams a lot, and so that's really what I'm known for. And diversity and inclusion, I lead that at my for my organizations, and I'm very passionate about that. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I think we share that same passion, you know,
yeah.
and that's one of the reasons, and Kim knows I was trying to do something on. I'm not big on social media. I do believe in it, but I don't have the bandwidth to do the things on social media. I think it can be very impactful for hospitals, doctors, and just for communities as well. But again, I don't have the bandwidth, the understanding of how it works, but I do believe in it. I do believe that with what I'm trying to do is trying to, what I tell people is patients are consumers before they are patients. And so I want to try to build, a following or a platform to where, we can ask, everyday questions within our community about healthcare. And I'll go into, really quick is, Kim knows that I was working with somebody for a couple of months, and what I was getting was just the standard Me Too, what's the word I'm looking for?
Lakin saw
You
the
know,
Instagram.
Yeah.
She
and
shared your same sentiments.
Yeah, I
and
saw your
so
Instagram.
and so my thing is, I'd rather, I look at it like this. I'd rather fail knowing that I tried versus going with a same concept and I'm unhappy. And so I'd rather just push the envelope. I'd rather be that person because either they'll say no or they'll gravitate to what we're trying to do. But when I spoke with Kim on Tuesday, one of the things I said I should have been recording this was, I have a business partner who shared that, she had to take a friend to the hospital and he ended up having emergency heart surgery. As a black man, I looked at it as, well, wow, that's unfortunate, this and the other. That's kind of how we um how we think about these kind of things. Like, hey, make sure everything's okay. But then what are we doing about it? Because it can happen to any one of us. Meaning that, okay, well, this happened to him, and I don't know his whole, clinical history, but I know for myself, like, damn, it's been 2 years since I've seen my primary care doctor. What am I going to do? What do I need to do to change my diet? 'Cause we hear these things, but it's not being really enforced. It's like, oh, well, that's him. I don't know what he was doing, but how do we apply that same thing to us? Because now we're gonna look at it as, well, he probably had a family, probably has children, and I have the same thing. And like, well, if something happened, do I have a will in place and something unfortunate happened to me? These are the kind of things that I kind of want to have conversations about, and then just try to find some kind of sound bites or some kind of messaging to where people will think about it. Sharing real life stories. Be like, well, hey, if 100 people look at it and it impacts one person, well, hey, I appreciate that, because one person may look at it as, what, I need to change my diet. I need to, stop drinking, alcohol, or limit, what I'm doing. And so, and a lot of people look at healthcare as a taboo. They don't want to talk about it. But, and doctors, physicians, hospital executives, they don't want to do it either because they want to be very politically correct. I'm like, I don't, that could really, impact my bottom line. And so I'd rather educate our community, whether it's about diabetes, the gout, different heart failures, but I want to use different platforms to do those kind of things. But utilize social media to get the message across. So
Okay. So you want to use it as a to educate, share stories, give helpful tips for healthcare.
yeah, and again, I'm not, my little disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, not a
Yeah.
surgeon or
Yeah.
anything like that. But one of the things, what I'm trying to do, and Kim has heard me say this a number of times. You're gonna hear it, I don't know how many other times. But we are impacted by healthcare either directly, meaning I may wake up and say, hey, my knee hurts, or my daughter is going to tell me that she had a headache, or I hear about something going on current events with COVID. So we're
Yeah.
impacted with healthcare every single day. And so I just want to look at it as, well, hey, let's have conversations or just bring it to light, because a lot of, these hospitals, doctors, they're very passive and they're going to do things that are safe. I would want somebody to be like, hey, I was talking to somebody um the other day, and she said that she had a miscarriage, a year ago. And she says that, I went on a Facebook group, and it takes, 7 days to get accepted into that group. And then it's very political in a way as well, as far as who they let in. But she said, I want to be able to kind of have a resource to where I can just kind of put it out there, like, hey, this is what I was dealing with. I was dealing with a miscarriage. I was dealing with this. So I want to kind of create a community to where people can, reach out to us in regards to Blue Scrub Yellow Socks and say, hey, this is kind of what I'm doing. And then we will be able to sift through that information and be like, you know what, this is what, we need to put on the platform. This needs to be a discussion. So that's kind of where I'm going with Blue Scrub Yellow Socks, because again, when a doctor, if another example is when I go to my dentist and I want to give my dentist a shout out, is only going to go to his or her platform, social media page. Or if I want to write a review, the only people that are going to know about it are the people that are looking for that certain doctor. And so, I think Kim probably shared this with you, but I look at what I'm trying to do with Blue Scrubs Yellow Socks to be along the lines of the Shade Room, where people, send us information. We use their content, their images. We can create images, and then we just kind of, have people add their 2 cents, add their opinion to that as well. In regards to Echo, that is me trying to be a conduit with the hospitals and also diverse suppliers. But a twist to the matrix is I want to add a community component to it, to where I want to utilize cause-related marketing, to where I can have any sales that we have with our diverse supplier partners, that we will provide an in-kind donation to a nonprofit. And so that's our way of letting the community know, like, hey, this is what we're trying to do as well. And then that's along the lines of being a consumer as well. If I'm a consumer looking for a certain doctor or a hospital, I'm like, well, hey, every hospital is going to have, stroke care. They're going to have an ER department. They are regulated by the state, so they have to maintain these requirements. But another mix to that, they're like, well, hey, Methodist, what are you doing to support diverse suppliers? Baylor or whomever, what are you doing to support the community? And so that's kind of where I'm driving um, ECHO. And ECHO means Equity Community Healthcare Outreach. Because, one of the things I look at with, COVID, a lot of small businesses, Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses were impacted, while these big corporations flourished, and they got millions of dollars, from the PPP. But and also the unfortunate events of George Floyd, meaning that a lot of companies were creating positions for African Americans. They were employing them more. And they wanted to, that was kind of the buzzword. They wanted to do things for them, but then it kind of died down. And me as a diverse supplier, is companies would reach out, but then there was no action, to it. Like, I'm like, hey, I still need to grow my business. I'm in the community. So there are other diverse suppliers like me. So I'm trying to use Echo as a way to kind of, create a pledge, create a commitment to where, hospitals may have contracts with these big suppliers, to where we want to encourage them, like, hey, carve out maybe 10, 50% for us, with your spend. And a lot of their excuses, oh, we don't know that they exist. I'm a medical device supplier. I exist. I have a contract with a big hospital in Dallas for 2 years. They haven't spent $1 with me. You know, they get the benefits
Yep.
of supporting. Oh well, they go to board members. Well, hey, I have a direct supplier on contract, or I have a service table veteran supplier on contract. But when it comes to, well, how much you spend with them, well, we spend millions of dollars in construction or janitorial services or security. That's how they get around, those numbers. But they're not adding. There's no incentive for them to add other diverse suppliers. And
Hey,
so,
Keith,
yes, ma'am.
real quick. So, because in wanting to understand why they would choose to allocate the funds more towards janitorial or construction services, does that go back to the GPO thing where they don't necessarily have the GPO for construction or janitorial, but they are trying to honor whatever their agreement is with GPOs when it comes to, like in your company's, for example, medical device or instruments like that?
Well, I kind of want to answer that question indirectly, meaning that the GPOs are basically have a thumb on the hospitals because, they would tell a hospital, well, hey, you would get a rebate if you spend $10 million with me in this category. If they were to use a diverse supplier, let's say for $500,000, well, that's only 9.5 spent with that GPO. So the hospital's gonna look at it as, well, hey, I'm not getting my rebate because I stepped out of the boundaries of my requirements. But my way of trying to get around that is I want to go to the consumer and tell the consumer, like, look, hey, Methodist is supporting a diverse supplier. If you are a consumer and you're doing your research, because again, I look at when people talk about, well, surgeries are more than likely elective. Look, with what I do with spine surgery, um, 85% of procedures that we do are elective, meaning that, I go see my surgeon, we get it scheduled, and I'm in the operating room 3 weeks later. So as a consumer, you already have researched that surgeon. You researched that hospital. You've contacted your insurance provider and say, well, hey, what doctor, what surgeon, what hospital is in network, so that way you can lower costs. But now add another component to that. Well, hey, which one of these hospitals is supporting a diverse supplier? And so this is where I want to get the message out there and be like, well, hey, for example, I just got a contract with Methodist Hospital. I want to be like, well, hey, I want to support Methodist as much as I can, because hopefully that will indirectly drive marketing. It can also potentially drive new patients to that hospital because now they're supporting diverse suppliers. I don't know those numbers. I won't have it right now, but I look at it as down the line with what I'm trying to do. I can probably have that and, become associated with Methodist to say, look, patients are coming to us asking us who supports what surgeon, what hospital support diverse suppliers. Because again, surgeons all go to medical school. They all are board certified by the state.
Yep.
So if all things are equal, if the hospitals are all equal, the one thing that can make them stand out, and it can be a marketing thing for them as well, like, look, hey, we are a diverse supplier. You can have all the billboards for best stroke care, best cancer care, this, that, and the other. Hospitals are going to do that. That's one of the things. They are mandated. They are regulated by the state to do certain things. Once you fall below a certain threshold, well, you're going to lose your license. So now just add a different component to it, to where who's really supporting diverse suppliers. And I want to get that message. I want to work around GPOs to where now we're creating a demand for GPOs to lighten up on the hospitals and include or have a better outreach program for diverse suppliers. So,
Gotcha.
did I answer your question? I know it's kind of indirect,
Nah.
but I'm not a fan of GPOs. that's why I'm trying to create Echo to kind of compete against them.
Mhm.
And instead of me giving my 3% to a GPO for an admin fee, I would rather give my 3% to a nonprofit or a charity.
Gotcha.
Got it.
I have a quick. Okay, y'all. It's 11:31. Keith, I know you have a 12 o'clock.
Yeah, do you guys have anything? I don't want to, again, I don't want to rush anything, but I wanted to really just take this time to kind of, you know, just kind of be on the same page with what I'm looking for as far as social media. So,
I have a couple of questions if you have a few minutes.
mhm.
How do you feel about reposting or resharing something that's already out there?
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, because again,
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna get that message out there again. So the more the better. So I have no problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I took some notes.
All right. So, Lakin, what Keith has in mind is us having these standing meetings probably weekly, right, Keith?
If possible, like 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
then and again, just conversations to where, like I said, I've been doing healthcare for a number of years, and it's something that you may say something or a certain word that may trigger something like, oh yeah, this is what happened. And so I want to use that as kind of sound bites to where you can kind of, take from that and kind of, put your own spin to it. And so I think I would like to try to do that on this platform, maybe for the next 8 weeks, if possible. That way, again, that we can, I mean, out of 30 minutes, I can probably provide a lot of content and stuff that you can kind of revisit and be like, okay, let's do that information or take notes, be like, hey, this was kind of a key that I kind of want to use in social media. So,
Are you able to share the link with Lakin so that she can go back and listen to the conversation and maybe pull some content, pull some ideas from the conversation?
why would I do that? I'm joking.
That's why he recorded it. I also wanted to ask, like, so with diversity, with like my D&I role at my job, we always highlight like different days. So like I have like calendars. So in September they have an International Equal Pay Day. Like I wonder, there'll be like a hashtag for that. Would you like? I think that's important, especially when we try to get people to buy into the diverse suppliers, to like highlight some diversity, things that are going on each month. Like it's Hispanic Heritage Month right now. So maybe like some posts around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I said, I know every month there's something going on healthcare related.
Yeah.
With October, you got, the whole
breast cancer.
cancer. Yeah. So but yeah, I'm open to those kind of things. I can try to be creative, relate the messages, and to get people talking more about healthcare beyond the traditional, soft passive approach. But to go back and answer your question, even though I was joking, but yes, I'll make sure you gotta have access to the recordings and everything. Let me figure out how to do that, because when I go to StreamYard to log in, I don't have an actual account. I just use my my email address, and it asks me for the code, and then I put in that code. But yeah, I have no problem sharing that. I mean, I actually welcome that. That's kind of why I want to do this, so that you can revisit it and be like, okay.
Hold on, they have a thing right here at the bottom. Oh, that's share screen. Okay. I wonder if it's over like once you ended that other call, did it send you an email or something saying, hey, this call just ended, here's a link to review?
No, it's basically, it's on when I'll have to show it to you later, but
okay.
It's basically when I go to like the home page or whatever I have, it'll show me all the recording that I've done over the last couple of months.
Okay.
And then I can but I'll look to see if I can actually, I think I can actually share a link, but again, I'll revisit. It's been a while since I've done this. And so let me kind of, look at that, but I'll make sure you guys have access to it.
Okay. And my last question, so let's talk about timelines. When did you want the first post to go out? You know what you want the frequency to be?
Mm, are we talking about? So I got to think about, do I want it for Echo or Blue Scrub Yellow Sox? Can I get back to you on that? Can I send you an email or
Yeah.
text on that? Yeah. Let me,
Yes, sir.
because yeah, let me think about that. Because I know the website for Echo should be up in October, but it'd be a good idea to start getting traction. Like, hey, look out for what we have going on. So I do want to kind of get that stuff on board. And then for Blue Scrub Yellow Sox, situation with that. So my preference would be that we do another one of these, next week, and then Lakin can kind of take that information and brainstorm on different content that we can use, and then probably start the week of the 19th, probably, and just kind of take conversation that we have from today, that way she can brainstorm like, yeah, this is a good idea, this imagery, this, that, and the other. So versus just trying to, because again, I'm not, like I said, I'm not looking at it, I need to make sure I have, 3 to 4 posts, per week. If one post is very impactful, I'm good with that. So I'd rather it be more impactful, more engaging versus meeting a certain quota. And again, that's where that whole box strategy works, where it's like, oh well, it worked for so and so. I'm not a fan of those. I'd rather push the envelope. I'd rather think outside the box, color outside the box, color outside the lines, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
So I'll send the email on that to just kind of clarify on what I thought. But really, like I said, I'd rather have more impactful content versus trying to rush and get it out there. So, but let's probably start. So we'll take this, and again, if there's anything that I'll figure out how to send you the link.
Okay.
I'll try to do that by Monday at least. Like I said, no rush, but again, I just wanted to make sure that you understood that I'm okay with it going against the grain.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm okay with that. So
From
I love it. I love it.
Make his own rules.
I love it.
Yeah, and my thing is, I'd rather go after the consumer, and then because the consumer is the one that pay people. Like I tell people,
that's what the
the
power
consumer,
is.
they're the ones paying the patient. The consumer have a choice.
Yeah,
you have a choice. You have a choice in what doctor. You have a choice when a doctor says you need surgery. That surgeon is selling you. That surgeon only gets paid by doing the surgery. So you may not. I've seen, surgeons suggest the patient needs surgery, and they didn't need surgery. That surgeon, that's how they get paid. So like you gotta, the consumer needs to be more involved with what they're doing, and not only the consumer, but also the care provider. The person taking care of that patient, either going with them to the doc's office or taking care of them, after they leave the hospital. Because there are some hospitals where after you leave, the nurse ain't gonna return your phone call. Like, look, we already got your money. I'm done. If I can't bill you for it, if there's no CPT codes or I can't get reimbursed for it, I'm not taking your call. And that's unfortunate. But I've had family members, I've had friends that have gone through that. Once that 30 days is done, be like, well, hey, your global period has ended. And yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm going in. So
okay.
So perfect.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right, Keith. We'll get the next meeting on the books for next week and go from there.
All righty. Thanks.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
y'all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.